Greetings, gamers. Today we're going to be talking about climate change. Is it real? Is it not? We don't know. Let's find out. The way this is going to be structured for you, dear viewer, this timestamp is going to be me talking to my bestie, Sam, a welder from Tulsa, Oklahoma, who is just turned 21. Actually, interview was recorded on his birthday. This timestamp is going to be an interview with either my sister or my mom. I haven't decided yet. My sister is like 30 something, older. It's in that 10-year range. And my mom is obviously like older than me, thankfully. And then this timestamp is gonna be like a summary of all of their opinions, which I'm gonna record later because I'm lazy. And also, before you go ahead, the two interviews didn't have any video to go with them. So I put Doom Eternal footage over them, which is kind of gory. So if you don't like that, you're probably going to want to minimize the video. But at the same time, if you think about like a Haitian kid drowning because the sea levels rose and he has nowhere to live, that's probably more violent than any Doom Eternal footage. So you should probably be able to stomach that. I hope you enjoy, and God bless you. I do it for the girls and the gays, that's it. So basically,
yeah, let's do this thing.
Yeah, we're now speaking to Samuel, who is a welder from Tulsa, Oklahoma. No more and no less. He is actually just today 21 years of age. Happy birthday.
I am. We made it.
So this is someone
wandering this earth since 2004.
Yeah. Will he make it another 21 years? That's what we're here to discuss today. Okay.
Oh, wow.
So I'm looking at my prompter, and our first line is that we're supposed to have meaningful conversations.
Okay.
So
wait. So have we not already done that?
I think we're doing that right now.
Okay, wait, that's what we're doing now. Okay. What's coming up?
This is it's like literally so stupid. One of the lines just says explore deeper. Okay. So our first question is literally what I posed earlier. How real is climate change to you? Do we think this whole situation's real? Do we think climate change is real?
I would say so.
Yeah, that's good.
Real is an interesting word.
Yeah, both
scientifically it's proven.
Yeah.
Climate change is a weird word.
Yeah, that's true too. It's a little. There's a lot of.
What were you trying to say though?
Like my mom will be like, or not so much recently, but my mom will say things like. She'll use the term global warming, and she'll be like, "Well, global warming's not real because it just snowed in Memphis," and it's like, well, you're missing the point.
The average like ambient temperature is increasing.
Yeah, pretty rapidly.
Yeah. But yeah, climate change. I mean, storms are getting worse. Sea levels are rising and getting more acidic. I think they're also getting more acidic.
Definitely acidic is happening, and also like the Great Barrier Reef off of the coast of Australia.
Yeah, the reefs are dying because of the acidity.
Jamie, could we pull up a number on Great Barrier Reef decay?
Wait, is Jimmy like...
I'll put a number on the screen if this is wrong. It's probably... I think the Great Barrier Reef is like 40% gone. So...
Yeah.
It's pretty...
Things are changing.
Things are happening. This is also funny because I don't know what my sister's opinion on climate change is, but like she's probably also going to be pretty similar in the same vein, but I don't know.
I think the most interesting part about how real it's getting is that the current administration doesn't want to accept the fact that it might be real. I feel like we can go ahead and say that because well then I mean, they said that they're banning Green New Deal, which doesn't that have to do with climate change?
Yeah. The outline of the
Okay.
recent executive order concerning the federal fund freeze does seem targeted. It sort of loops climate, quote unquote, climate ideology in with your woke DEI, gender,
Mm-hmm.
etc. Their words, not mine.
Yeah.
Um,
And I also have made previous statements that seem to suggest that they don't believe in it.
yeah,
But the area that they're so like targeted in, which would probably be like economic differences, like that's where they get a lot of like, I don't know, talk these days, and is a huge topic and is a lot bigger than climate change. But the irony is that like housing prices, home insurance premiums, like all of that is already adjusting to as if it's already
yeah,
real.
yeah.
Like the things that they can't even argue with, which at this point I guess is the economy. Like even that is pointing and showing that it's real because like the natural development of the market is adjusting to the fact that the sea will probably like start to engulf Florida. I don't
Yeah.
know if I want a house there anymore because of the hurricanes. Like
Yeah.
that's already like we're going into that. So
Yeah.
yeah, it's real on a lot of levels now.
This is all true. My little teleprompter says, what experiences have shaped this view? I feel like this one's pretty easy. We kind of already covered it. I think for me, the California wildfires and the
Mm.
snow that hit the east recently, both happening at the same time, was the
Yeah,
most
and the
like,
Asheville hurricane. The Asheville
yeah, that
hurricane was not
too.
long ago either.
That was crazy.
Yeah,
Um,
all of it was crazy.
there's how have you personally experienced climate change?
Probably the Asheville stuff the most. I mean, that's probably the
Yeah,
most severe.
yeah,
The snowstorm, I mean, that was like
that
I
was
feel like
fun.
it's been worse other years. I don't know if
Yeah,
that was
no, this is true.
significant or not.
This is true.
But Memphis is already temperate enough to where the storms are definitely worse though. I
Yeah,
feel like that is true, but I mean, that's just kind of my I don't really know how real that is, but
yeah.
I mean, if we're looking at it from more of an objective lens, I would say that Asheville is probably like
Mm,
the most directly involved evidence of climate change in my
mm.
life,
At the very least,
just because I knew people there.
storm
But
frequency is increasing.
yes,
I think
yeah.
that can definitely be said. Um,
But I don't know if like normal. It'd be interesting if like normal storms are starting to push the boundaries of like our infrastructure. You
yeah,
know, like I don't
yeah,
really know like how much even normal storms at this point pose a threat. Like I wonder
yeah.
where we are in terms of battling that kind of stuff.
Well, and also
So
like, I obviously have no knowledge on this, but speaking of like, surely we're gonna get to the point if acceleration continues where records will be broken for how powerful a storm can get. Um,
yeah,
which
like what
that's
does that look
yeah.
like?
Can we get a Cat
Like
6?
Jupiter with a
Yeah,
permanent storm
yeah.
for
That's
hundreds
right.
of years.
It's true. Um,
Oh no.
this is hilarious.
There's just like a band around the earth where like the housing prices are like insane because
Yeah,
there's this storm that just rotates around that one like longitudinal line the entire
magically like
100 years.
South Dakota is just uninhabitable for no reason. For some reason,
Yeah,
the
yeah.
geomagnetic fields worked out in such a way that that
It's
sustains.
isolated one
Yeah,
spot.
yeah. Um.
Oh wow.
So the next question on the teleprompter is, what do you think we should do about climate change?
Um, what should we do about climate change?
What should we do?
I don't think the solution is batteries. I don't think the solution is Mars.
Uh-huh.
I don't. Well, like I don't know. I guess I'm more saying like the entire concept of just going to another planet
Yeah.
because
Yeah, yeah.
it was kind of honestly starting to look like maybe we should start
Yeah.
uh figuring out a way out of here.
Yeah.
But I don't know. I think it will be interesting because we're running into the point where maybe we have to stop producing less or start producing
Yeah.
less. Sorry.
Yeah.
Or maybe we have to start using less energy. Like we keep
Mm.
trying to build up more renewable energy, which is good, but I mean even, you know, wind farms do damage to the environment by killing billions of birds per year, or some figure of
Yeah.
birds per year.
Yeah.
I don't actually know if it's billions, but
It's a
I feel
lot.
like
It's like it's a
it's a
sizable
large amount
amount.
of birds.
Yeah.
You can more than you can hold.
Definitely more than a handful.
And solar is like, it's hard to produce solar panels and they're like not that efficient.
Yeah. If you're making a
Um,
Factorio factory, you
yeah,
don't use solar.
you have to have some coal mines,
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
but maybe it's more about like downscaling our infrastructure to where we don't need coal plants instead
Mhm.
of just like full sending. Although, I mean, I think nuclear is a pretty safe option from what I understand, but
Mhm.
like, how do we hypothetically full sent wind farms everywhere without
Yeah.
the environmental like lens of that it kills a bunch of birds? That probably would have ended equally as terrible in some way. I don't really
Mm.
know the implications of what that would cause, but maybe we just need to slow down for a second. I don't really know if we need to keep like producing and like I'm happy right now. I don't need a new iPhone really. Like I'd be
Yeah.
happy with just an iPhone 4 the rest of my life. But
Yeah.
I
I've
don't really know
actually
what we're really chasing anymore.
I wanted to add here that I've had Jamie pull up the peroxide music video, which is now playing over this footage, just so we can get an idea of the sort of wind farms we're talking about here. What was I gonna say?
I would also like to that it is between 140,000 and 679,000 birds per year. It is
Wow,
nowhere
that
near
is
the billions,
that's actually
but it
more than I
is
would have
more than you could
guessed.
hold.
Yeah, definitely more than you can hold. I think even if the Iron Giant or something like that was real, it'd probably be more than he can hold. Um, yeah, I think that just I think okay, one, I think tariffing other countries that aren't meeting climate change demands would be really funny. Um, or
Hmm.
putting taxes on imports or exports that don't meet climate change demands. And then I also think that the whole DeepSeek situation is a very interesting case study because obviously and objectively, no matter what you think of AI, the sudden need in the past couple of years for supercomputers and the kind of infrastructure to support LLMs um, is a large carbon output source. Um, and I think it's
No,
interesting
yeah.
that DeepSeek is doing it at 3 times the efficiency, roughly, of ChatGPT, which is obviously
Yeah.
more energy efficient. Um, but
Yeah.
because government is subsidizing OpenAI with their recent multi-million, feel like it was a lot of money. It was a lot. Jamie, put
Didn't
the
they
number on
make
the
like
screen.
a
Um,
didn't the top AI companies like aren't they pooling their resources for something? What is that for?
I
Stargate?
don't.
What's it for?
Oh yeah, I've heard something about that. I don't know much.
Let me look up Stargate. Oh
I.
yeah, it's OpenAI Stargate.
Oh right, there was a
The
commercial
Stargate
for that at the
project.
Super Bowl.
Oh right, I saw the OpenAI one. I don't remember if
I
it was
think the
Stargate
OpenAI
though.
one was for Stargate.
Okay. $500
Um,
billion dollars over the next 4 years building new AI infrastructure. And yeah,
yeah.
it's kind of like, so
Wow.
are we really just gonna spend $500 billion dollars on more AI systems that will further dig us in the climate hole that we already are in to the
Yeah.
point where then we will have to start spending like, $1 trillion to get out of it because of this $500 billion investment that we're making right now. I don't know. It's like, yeah. We are rushing headfirst somewhere
The
in a direction that might be inescapable.
the the picture on the article on OpenAI's website for uh the announcement of Stargate includes
January
a
21st.
yeah, it includes a painting. I really hope it's not an AI generated painting because that's going to be really embarrassing for me. But I
Dude,
think
yeah, if that's AI, that definitely is AI generated.
it probably is. I just think it's funny
It's
that it
really
looks
good
like
though.
the left looks like the crucifixion of Christ, and the right looks like a crane. Um, which is I'd like to say ironic, but it probably is AI
The
generated. I'm trying to
right does
do
look like a crane.
maybe
I
they
actually see
both
the
look like
left actually now.
cranes. Um,
Yeah, the left one looks like a crane too because it's got those like wires at the
yeah,
top.
yeah. I'm trying to
Maybe this is some
see.
sort of crane family.
a
I
like
know. Now
a
I want to
wandering
know because if
tribe.
this is AI art, it might be over.
Yeah, let me see. Well, I could see
That's a level of
there's actually something deeply ironic about the fact that I'm currently trying to find the original source of the image
yeah,
and it
ChatGPT.
has yeah, well, and
Oh.
it doesn't have any credit. Just the irony that OpenAI entirely is built off of crowdsourcing works that
Oh
aren't
yeah.
credited. Um, but DeepSeek is doing my psychology homework, so I can't
Mm.
complain.
And it's good at
Um,
it.
let's see. There's more on the teleprompter. Uh, ooh, how important is climate change compared to other challenges we face?
Oh,
That's a toughie.
probably number one or two. I mean, it's more pressing than people realize, but like socially and politically, it's pushed as like probably one of the least important issues, but it probably should
Mm-hmm.
be like
Mm-hmm.
number one. I mean, it's
Mm-hmm.
irreversible steps that we're taking
Mm-hmm.
to assure a worse future right now.
Mm-hmm.
So, I don't know. I
So
think
you
it's
would say
definitely should be one of the primary focuses of our age.
where like right now, for example, in political elections, if you look at the primary motives behind the way people vote, um, a lot of the time it's like immigration, economy, which unrelated. I know you could make. I'm. Those are obviously climate issues as well, technically speaking, for different reasons. But you would say that like the would you say that climate change should be like the primary driver for your vote?
Yeah, I mean, I definitely would say so because the thing about migrant and stuff like that is like we're concerned with the migrants, which I feel like we have a calling to be like compassionate towards other people, and I think a part of
Mm-hmm.
what's hard about the migrant process or the migrant issue is just that it involves real people and real people's lives,
Yeah,
real
yeah,
people's emotions, but as one of the biggest causes of global warming, the United States, which I'm not
yeah.
saying we're the only one. I don't even know if we're the most. China might be. China probably
I
is ahead of
think
us,
I
right?
can look
They
it
are
up real
ahead of us
quick.
in
I think.
terms of like how much CO2 they
Oh
produce.
yeah,
Like they're worse. Okay, but we're still an enormous producer of CO2 in greenhouse gases, and it's like if we're concerned with the well-being of other people, I mean Haiti's like, there's islands that are probably
yeah,
just gonna keep getting battered with unimaginable hurricanes,
yeah, yeah.
basically directly because of the amount that we're producing. So it's like, if you do think that we need to take better care of like the countries in Central America, especially after like all of our involvement in that area over the decades, I mean,
No,
they're
this is
about to
true.
probably not really have a great place to live, like ever,
Yeah,
especially in like tropical areas. I don't
yeah.
know.
No, that
Which
makes
it'd also
sense.
be interesting to see like which areas does climate change impacts the worst? Because I don't even know who's really getting the worst of it.
Yeah, I think it will obviously affect different geological
Everyone.
areas
Yeah.
differently, geological and geographical. Um, so that is the end of the teleprompter. Um, I think we've
We
got
made it.
some good ideas going here. Um, I
Yeah,
think the
our little
world,
podcast episode.
yeah, there might be hope for the future. Um,
Hmm.
the thing with this is there's one of the parts of the assignment is we have to reply to other people's conversations. So
Okay.
there's a lot more that could be said here, but unfortunately, I care just a little bit about the other people in the class. The queens and the queers, yeah, they loving my shit. So do you want to just get right into it?
Yes, we can get
It's
right
so
into it.
funny.
You can skip all the BS stuff. I kind of did a lot of things like this
Uh-huh.
when the first time around as marketing. So
Yeah, yeah.
different class, but same thing. I mean, there's so many rules that you have to follow, So I
Yeah.
kind of know all the rules. So you can just jump. I mean, you don't have to explain anything to me. You could just
Yeah.
jump right into it. I'm
And
aware of all the stuff.
so let's just start right off the bat. Also, I don't like how a lot of these questions are worded, but how real is climate change to you? And we want our most radical opinions here.
All right. I believe the climate is changing, but I do not believe that it is changing because of human intervention.
Mm-hmm.
I believe it's changing because that is the natural course of the evolving of the world.
Yes.
Meaning, I think that, and here's where you can get radical,
Mm-hmm.
God is pretty doggone amazing.
Mm-hmm.
I find it hard to believe a lowly human can change the environment.
Mm-hmm. Yes. This makes
I believe
sense.
that humans can add to the environment, and some of their behaviors might affect or have an outcome
Mm-hmm.
on the environment. For instance, if you drive a car and the smoke goes into the air, then the smoke's in the air and you just change the air.
Mm-hmm.
But I do not think that humans are powerful enough to increase the temperature of the ocean.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
So that's kind of
Mm-hmm.
all I think about that.
So you would say that, like, I guess in terms of like micro and macro changes, we can make like micro changes, like if you were to, like, I don't know, get an ice cube and melt it, which is technically a
Yes,
change to the environment, but macro changes like getting a glacier and melting it. Maybe, okay, maybe we could do that intentionally, but in terms of humans would not be able to affect that process. Maybe?
agreed. Yes,
Okay.
that's exactly what I'm saying.
Um, I know you mentioned this sort of, you honestly covered a
Yeah,
lot of the next set of questions, but
that's okay.
one thing one thing I'll throw in is I know you mentioned that, of course, you grew up in the 80s where climate, the sort of, which was really when, well, yeah, I guess that's true, when a lot of climate change rhetoric started. Um, and at least to my understanding, you were more sympathetic to climate change when you were littler and the whole, like, the world will be destroyed in 10 years or whatever. Um, what sort of, what do you, were there any things in your life that maybe changed your views, or was it more of a constant for you? If that makes sense, I can clarify. If that
For
doesn't make sense.
example, okay, hopefully this answers the question. When
Mm-hmm.
I was in eighth grade,
Mm-hmm.
in our science books, our
Yes.
textbooks, we read a paragraph that said that the earth was going to run out of drinking water. And this was
Yes.
a huge problem, and we had to start saving water.
Yes.
And that time period was approximately 50 years ago,
Mm-hmm.
right now,
Yeah.
and nothing has changed. A
Yes.
lot of water has been tried to be saved, and
Yes.
I'm still being told we're running out of water. So I've been
Yes.
told that my whole life. It's very hard to believe that you can affect a change in something when that same thing has been going on my entire life.
Mm-hmm.
It's a great thing to tell kids in kindergarten right now, don't throw trash out in the roads and it'll be a mess.
Yeah.
America the Beautiful and all that.
Yeah.
But I do not think, once again, I don't think it's going to change. I
Yeah.
think
Yeah.
like
Which
that.
lines up with what you were saying earlier of like sort of throwing trash out on the road is another example of like a micro effect on the climate. But
Right.
the act of reducing trash, you would say, cannot have a macro effect.
No, because there's always going to be someone who's going to throw trash out.
Mm-hmm.
There will be always someone to counter whatever good you're trying to do. There will always be someone doing bad to
Yeah.
counter affect your good.
Mm-hmm.
And we're not living in the world where there are more good people than bad people.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Um, what do you think, if anything, we should do about climate change? And you can interpret that question however you please.
Interpreting it as an 80s chick, there there is nothing you can do about climate change. Rather than trying to stop it,
Mm-hmm.
the focus should be on how to live in the new climate.
Mm-hmm.
For instance, I would agree, it's getting hotter and colder or wetter or drier.
Yeah.
So you change your habits, you change your lifestyle
Mm-hmm.
to match whatever the climate change is at the time.
Mm-hmm.
There may come a time where everybody walks around in air-conditioned suits or air-conditioned tops
Yes.
or
Yes.
something, simply because the temperature is going to be 108 today, and that's
Yeah.
not
Yeah.
comfortable for a human being.
Yes.
So you change your behaviors to that. I think the focus should be more on learning to live with the changes and not worrying about the change so much,
Mm-hmm.
because there clearly was an ice age and there
Yes.
clearly were dinosaurs.
Yes.
And I do not think the dinosaurs could have run around and tried to warm things up so the ice age didn't start. I think the ice age was happening and
Mm-hmm.
they had to adapt to that. So
Mm-hmm.
some cavemen got more furs and
Mm-hmm.
they learned fire and they kept
Yes.
warm, stuff
Yes.
like that. So I think you can't stop it, but you have to adapt to it.
Yes. This makes sense. A lot of people, when you look at like exit polls for the last presidential election, for example, people will rank like, especially like immigration, the economy, stuff like that, super high. Um, and some people argue that climate change should be ranked higher on the list of voting issues. And certainly you've talked about this already, but just to cover the question, how important do you think climate change is compared to other challenges we face? Challenges meaning the stuff like immigration issues, economy issues, et cetera, whatever people are voting on these days.
Okay, so I think that immigration issues can be fixed. It's all simply developing a new process to handle immigrants and classifying them
Mm-hmm.
certain citizenship of the United States. I
Mm-hmm.
think that the other thing you said with the economy, that again goes with making laws and making changes so
Mm-hmm.
that more saving is going on and less spending in the country.
Mm-hmm.
I think that with climate change, once again, you can do all the laws that you want, but I think that the climate is bigger than a human being able to change the direction it's going in. I think the earth is evolving and spinning and moving and growing, and you cannot stop that from happening.
Mm-hmm.
It's a live, volatile thing, and a human cannot control something that large.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that makes sense. Those are all the questions I had, thankfully.
Okay.
Hey, it's Thursday. My room's kind of a mess, but this is due tomorrow. So we're gonna do these main points really quick, and we're gonna be done. Sam and I, we talked about how climate change feels very real, and it feels like a lot of people are ignoring it. We talked about events like the hurricane in Asheville, the big snowstorm that hit the US recently, the wildfires in California, and its increasing effects on society. We talked about potential market solutions, nuclear energy, other things along those lines, the drawbacks and benefits of wind farms, but generally, doomer vibes that there's nothing we can really do, but it is very real. My mom, on the other hand, which was the second review, does not think climate change is real, but she shared similar doomer vibes of, well, she thinks climate change is real, but not that humans are causing it, and she believes that it would be better to adapt to climate change rather than try to fight it. So, for example, if the air warms up and global temperature increases by 2 degrees Celsius, as it is projected to do. Our goal should not be to prevent that warming, but to restructure society so that we can live within that warming. So, both pretty doomer. The main difference is that Sam and I's conversation was more about climate change being real and being caused by humans, whereas my mom's conversation, she doesn't think it's caused by humans, she thinks it's a natural cycle. But both of them think it's real. So to answer the question I posed at the start of the video, yeah, climate change is real. Cry about it. God bless you, and I love you.
Shut the fuck up to the girls with the big